Today I want to talk to you, I want to cover three things on air filtration. Number one, I want to talk about the basics of air filtration. Number two, I want to give you an overview of the types of air filters that are out there and give you a better understanding about it. And then at the end, what I want to do is take one of the air filters that we encounter in the market and give you some tips and information that you need to sell against it. So when we talk about air filtration, every air filter consists of two things: airflow plus a media. And by that, what happens is we take air and we have to run it through a machine. And that's measured in something called CFM, cubic feet per minute. And that's going to be important in just a second. But the next thing is when we take that air through the filter, through the machine, we have to run it over some type of filter. And different filters do everything. Some do a limited thing. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But every company has a choice. The slower you move the air through the filter, the easier it is for that filter media to filter it. However, the genius of Mr. Capadonna and Carico's air filter is that we take the air faster than nearly every other filter on the market. Yet we're still able to achieve excellent filtration. And that's the first important difference between the Carico air filter and all the other filters on the market. We can move a lot of air and we clean it very efficiently. Okay? So the first thing is two things in every air filter: how fast the air goes and some device that filters it. So what we're going to do now, and you don't need to copy all this stuff on the charts. I am going to send it out to you. So it's more important that you listen. You don't need to write everything down. So the first kind of filter I'm going to talk about is called a UV or ultraviolet filter. And basically, this takes an ultraviolet light and it shines it as the air goes through it. And what these do is the ultraviolet light basically burns or sunburns, if you will, any kind of bacteria or viruses to death. And there's a couple things that affect how well they work. First of all, the faster the bacteria or virus moves past the light, the less they kill. So in general, when you see a filter that has UV, the airflow is going to be very slow and go much, much slower than what we offer. So it doesn't clean as much air as fast as we do. The second thing is, as the bulb gets older, it becomes less effective. The third thing is, if it's very dirty, some of the bacteria and viruses can actually hide behind the dirt and they're shielded from it, so they don't even get affected by the UV light. Now, what does a UV light do, or a UV filter? Well, it doesn't filter any particulate matter like dust or dander. It doesn't affect that at all. So a UV light also has to have some other filter to attract that. It does work against some bacteria and viruses, but not all of them. It works on some of the bacteria and mold spores, but again, it's not effective against all of them. It doesn't really remove allergens. It is effective against smoke and some other things, but it's not comprehensive. And the last contaminant we're concerned about is VOCs. It really doesn't affect them at all. It's not effective. So out of the four categories we're concerned about with, a UV light doesn't work on two of them, and it sort of works on two of them, okay? Now, the next kind of filtration is called the HEPA filtration. And we're familiar with this because we've heard a lot. It's in our unit. And what a HEPA filter is, it's a mechanical filter. That means it's made out of some material, paper or woven material. The air passes through it, and that material stops or catches any of the particulate matter that comes in. This is the most common filter that you'll see out on the market, is HEPA filtration. It's very good with particulate matter. It's very good at stopping that, again, depending on the material that is used. It doesn't really affect bacteria or viruses. It may capture only the biggest ones of them, but for the most part, they pass through. It doesn't capture any odors, and it doesn't capture any VOCs. So HEPA is good with particulate matter, but it's not good with bioaerosols, bacteria, viruses, or VOCs. Now, the second thing is called, or the third one is actually called ionic. And we're familiar with this again because we have the ionizer in our unit. And what an ionizer is it gives an electrical charge. And that electrical charge attaches to dust and dirt, makes it heavier, makes it easier for the filters to capture. Now, by itself, it doesn't capture anything, but it makes it easier for the filter to capture it. It is effective against some pet dander and dust mites, but it's not effective against VOCs, and it's not effective against fumes, smoke, or odor. Now, a benefit of ionization or ionic filters is that there is medical research that shows that you get a physical benefit. It improves your physical health. It improves your psychology and mental health. People with ionizers around are proven to feel more positive, and we all need and want to feel more positive. So I don't understand how a customer could pass that aspect of an air filter up. Now, the last one here is an electrostatic filter. All an electrostatic filter is it's probably a HEPA filter or some type of material that's given electric charge, and it's inserted in the machine. What that electric charge does is it attracts the dirt and dust to that filter. So an electrostatic filter will do an okay job, again, depending on the material, with particulate matter. It might be effective against some of the larger bacteria or larger viruses, but it's not going to be effective against smoke or fumes or odor, and it's certainly not going to be effective with VOCs. Now, the next type of filter is activated carbon. And again, this should sound familiar to you because we have a form of an activated carbon in our unit. Now, what does activated carbon do? Well, it's a carbon filter that's been specially treated so that it makes it able to grab and hold certain... First, the activated carbon filters are not really effective against dust or particulate matter. They're specifically designed to get smoke and fumes and odors. They're also effective on attracting VOCs. So again, the activated carbon, VOCs, any kind of gas, bioaerosols, they're very effective on. Now, the next type of filter is one of the new types of filters that are out there, and it's called a plasma filter. And it sounds, pretty high tech, and people hear that and they think, wow, what is it? Well, basically, a plasma filter takes a series of ionizers and they line them up in these special tubes to give an even higher ionization charge. And what that does is it turns out as the air passes over it, again, it has to pass over slowly. It turns out that it's effective with some bioaerosols and VOCs, but they don't capture any of the particulate matter, okay? So what we've done so far is we've talked about things that are filters: the activated carbon, HEPA, the plasma, the electrostatic filter, the UV light, and the ionic filter or ionizers. Those all capture something. The last thing we're going to talk about that's important with filtration is ozone or activated oxygen. Now, ozone or activated oxygen doesn't actually remove particulate matter or dust or anything from the air. What it does is an ozone generator or the Carico unit will release ozone. Ozone is called O3. without going into the science about it, we know that oxygen is typically O2. What happens with the oxygen, that third little oxygen molecule, it wants to break away, and when it breaks away, it goes to look for some biological thing to attach to. When it does, it oxidizes it or kills it. If you think about oxidation, you probably think about rust. When you see iron breaking down and crumbling and turning brown, that's from oxygen attacking it. And so what that extra oxygen does is it goes to things like bacteria, it goes to viruses, it goes to mold, it goes to VOCs. Any organic material like that attaches to it, and it ultimately neutralizes it or destroys it. So that's what ozone does. Now, when you look at Carico and you take the Carico filter, the Carico filter does something that no other filter on the market does. It takes the best of all those different types of filters that I've discussed, and it puts it into one package. And it does it with high airflow. For example, we have HEPA filtration. So we know our unit is going to excel at grabbing the particulate matter. We have an ionizer. So we know that that ionizer is going to help attract the dust and dirt and spores even better. And it's going to give us the psychological and physical benefits of feeling much better and feeling more positive. We have the activated carbon, or the GMX cloth as we call it, which attacks odors and dangerous gases and VOCs. And finally, we have the ozone. The ozone goes beyond helping and killing any of the viruses that the machine may draw in. It also sterilizes and cleans all of the surfaces in the room if it's used properly. So the air filter with Carico goes above and beyond just cleaning the air, but it cleans the surfaces as well. And if you take the Carico CFM is 299. That means it's 299 feet per minute of clean air. If you look at a HEPA filter that just has a HEPA filter, you may find one or two that has a higher CFM, but they will not do viruses. They will not take out odors. It is almost impossible to find a machine on the market that cleans as much air as Carico's machine does, as efficiently, and will attack all four of these areas, okay? And again, I'm going to provide this sheet to you after the meeting. We'll send it out to you so that you'll have all this information at your fingertips. Now, the last thing I want to do is talk about, there is a unit in the market that I'm going to take that I think is a good unit that I know a lot of you have encountered out there. And I'm going to kind of walk you through if I was going to talk to somebody about it and compare the two units. If that person wanted to buy this unit, what would I say to them? What information could I give them to show them how much better the Carico unit is than this? And it's called the IntelliPure unit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a chart, and I'm going to go through these items line by line. If you could put that up for me. Okay, so the first thing is, if we go through these, the IntelliPure makes a claim that they are 99.9% effective at 0.007 microns, okay? Now, we've been tested at two different micron sizes. We are 99.9% at 0.3 microns, but we also know we are 89% effective at 0.08 microns. Why is this important? I want to go back to one of the first points I talked to you about, and I asked you to remember, is how much air we move through the machine and how much air we clean. The IntelliPure unit can clean about 1,200 square feet of air an hour. Carico, however, is double that, 2,300 square feet per hour. That means for every one time this IntelliPure unit cleans the air, we do it twice, okay? So let's take a low number. We know that we're 89% at 0.08. Let's say we're 75% at 0.07 microns, okay? But you got to remember, we clean it twice. So We get the 75% of those small micron particles out the first time, but then we get to do it again. And we take 75% of what's remaining out. So within an hour, we're actually at 93.75% efficiency. There's not much of a difference between us and the IntelliPure, okay? So that's the first point. Yes, we're slightly behind it after an hour's cleaning on the 0.07, but that's the only advantage IntelliPure has on us, and it's not that big of an advantage. There's a rating called CADR, and what that is called is the clean air delivery rate. And what that says is how much cubic feet of air can you move efficiently, okay? Now we know that our CFM is 299, yet our machine is so efficient that our CADR rating is exactly the same at 299. When we compare that to IntelliPure's rating, it's only 160. Again, we're nearly double the ability to deliver clean air than the IntelliPure unit. Both units provide virus protection in the air. However, IntelliPure relies on that virus coming into the machine, passing through it at the light bulb at the right speed, long enough to kill it. If there's any debris in the way, the virus probably isn't going to die. If the bulb is old and weak, it's not going to be as effective at killing it. The Carico unit gets 2 bites at the virus. Remember, we get it as it comes into the unit, we can capture it, but even if it escapes somehow and gets out, or there's viruses on the surface, remember, we have the ozone. So not only are we going to clean the viruses out of the air, but as the chart shows, we also get the viruses if they're on the surfaces. The IntelliPure unit can't do that. And that's because we have the activated oxygen, they do not. Another feature that separates us from the IntelliPure unit is we have the ionizer. They do not. We get the benefit of that better physical and emotional health because of those positive negative ions. That sounds a little strange, positive negative ions, but it's worked, it's scientifically proven. We remove odors. We're effective at removing odors. Remember, it's the activated carbon or the GMX filter combined with our activated oxygen that's effective at attacking odors. Now, they have 5 speed settings, we have 10. That could matter to somebody because it helps you control the sound level that you want the unit or the demand or what you need the unit to do at that given time. Now here's another big thing, and this was taken right from the IntelliPure website. Look at the maintenance that's required on this unit. You have to replace the pre-filter every 6 months. You have to replace the main filter every 9 to 12 months, and you have to replace the VOC filter every 6 months. The best I could find was the price for 2 of those filters, and it was $275. And that's not even going to cover you for the whole year. So the cost of owning this and maintaining this unit is expensive, much more expensive, much more work than the Carico unit is. Then let's talk about the warranty. IntelliPure offers 1-year warranty. Carico offers 2-year warranty. But if you follow our guidance of replacing the filters on time, you'll get a 10-year warranty. That's 10 times the protection guaranteed with the Carico unit. So when at the end of the day, and I love to use this phrase from Mr. Capadonna, the choice is obvious, isn't it? If you are so concerned with having a few percentage points better on the smallest particulate matter, then the IntelliPure is right. If you're concerned with having an outstanding filter on the particulate matter, you're concerned about viruses in the surface, you want to get the benefits of the ionization with the better health and the better mental health, and you're concerned about sanitizing and sterilizing your environment, if you're concerned about the maintenance cost and the effort that goes into it, if you're concerned about the length of the warranty, the choice is obvious, isn't it? The Carico Deluxe filter is the best filter on the market. Thank you.